Okay. Yo, Daryl, what's up? Darrell? Anybody ever call you Darrell? Daryl? Darrell. He's got mojo. Ow. Hanging out. I slept weird on my shoulder, and it is really not feeling good. Almost hit a tree driving. Uh, I'm done painting. Almost. I've got to do. I got to do the KBs and the roots today. Uh, Scott, I've been meaning to message you, and I keep forgetting. I realized a couple days ago when the kids were at the shop that I forgot to send your baits back in their package. These. So next time I send you something, I'll include these. I forgot them. I forgot that baits come with packages. Uh, what's up, John? Chris, are you wanting your? Are you wanting these? Is it time to ship them now? Didn't you tell me to hold those? Toledo, I'm jealous. Johnny, you could have met up with Clotilde Tyler, except he left and went to damn Toledo. I do have another buddy from down there that you could hop in the boat. Or not, he's available, but I do have another buddy from down there that could partake. Too many reds in it, dude. That sounds like an awesome problem to have. Daryl, I'm excited about the Tom Bigby River at the Columbus Pool. So that's upriver from where I fish. I fish on, or used to, tournament fish on Demopolis. Um, and Demopolis is where the Tom Bigby and the Black Warrior come together, and then they split. Then there's a dam on either side. Um, and the Tom Bigby side goes up, and it dams up a couple more times, and then it goes into the Columbus Pool. Um, so it should be. I. It's either going to be really good, or it's going to be like there will be good bites had, but it's liable to be a a soft plastics pitching fest. Uh, hate catching reds. You don't eat them? man. But if it were I don't know what day. It's in the middle of April. I don't know if it's the first, middle, or end of April. But it depends on what. April can be weird. Like typically everybody's like, "Oh, April's the best month ever." I hate April. Because you either have like you can go throw a frog in a buzzbait all day and catch like 23 pounds, and you get nothing but like 4 pound bites, or you have to pitch a worm all day and like catch little pencil dicks that are trying to bed. Um, but I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard much. Jason, are you from up there? I haven't heard much out of the Columbus pool uh, uh, in a while. It was never as good as the ones below it, but I don't know how it's fishing right now. I mean, being the Tombigbee River, it should have some, not big weights, but it should have some fish in it. Uh, Kentucky Lake will be interesting. Is there a slot in Columbus? That would be weird. That would be really weird. I didn't know that was. I guess maybe because it's in Mississippi, it's under Mississippi jurisdiction. Yeah, Aliceville's always typically been better. I remember when I was coming up, Aliceville had grass in it. That was the deal. Everybody talked about the grass at Aliceville. We used to fish at Vienna a lot. I remember I went in Wilkes Creek. If you're familiar with that, uh, everybody from up there probably is. Uh, but I went in Wilkes Creek one year to like look around, see if I could see some fish, and I went to the back in the big bay and started idling around, and I found like one hole in the grass, and I could see this fish swimming in and out of it. I was like, that looks like a bed. That looks like a big one. So, dude, I spent like an hour on this fish, and finally, it bit like a pink trickworm, and set the hook. Fish goes blasting through the weeds, get it up to the boat. I'd spent all that time trying to catch an 8 pound grinnell. Couldn't tell because the water was so dark, but it was fun. I just wish I wouldn't have wasted that much time on that fish. But I've spent some time down there. Might have slipped into the Sipsey. Jason, you ever run through the Sipsey on that end? My fishing partner Jody could run it. Like in all those stumps, he knew where the channel was. The first time I went fishing with him up there, and we launched in the Sipsey, and like where it meets the mouth of the river. And no, we launched at Vienna, and we ran down the river and went in that time. And I started looking around, and I was like, "You sure there's a channel through here?" He was like, "Yeah." Because if there's no way if you didn't like know how to do that. I wish I would have filmed it a couple times, like way back when, because now it's silted in a bunch of places that you used to be able to run. So if you knew how to run it 10 years ago or longer, if you tried to run that way, you'd run aground. But dude, it was gnarly. And it makes some weird turns. Like you'll be going up and then you'll like go back down and then like make a big horseshoe. It's weird. Uh, Chris, dude, I don't know how you say that. I can think of way worse fish. Crappie. I'd rather eat a redfish than a crappie. I'll say it. I don't like crappie. Sue me. Hot take. I don't like crappie. Bring the flames. Flame me. I've tried. It doesn't get my motor running. But they've had some tournaments back in the Sitco era, um, on the Columbus pool. I think Kevin Short won on the Columbus pool. I think Davey Height won also on the Columbus pool. If you watch Davey Height win, that tournament should be on Lynn Dollar's page. If you watch Davey win, I believe Davey can be seen throwing a Bagley 09 possibly 3. Uh, what Chris, do you like what about like, do you eat like offshore fish? Like, you ever had triple tail? I mean, that's considered as good as it gets. Hey Jay, hello. How did the seasonal bait sales go? You got any coffins left? So you like grouper and amberjack and that kind of stuff. I have 3 left. Was that to be expected? You got to get these women's, AJ, into buying Halloween presents for their husbands. You got to make Halloween presents a thing. Halloween gifts, and you'd need 100 more. Here you go, honey. I got you a little trick or treat present to put in your basket. Just brought home 30 pounds of yellow perch fillets. That sounds promising. Where'd they come from? What body of water was that? Ontario, Canada. This needs a little tune, I can already tell. I'll pre-tune this one and I haven't even seen water. Talk deer. Oh, yes, I meant to tell y'all about this. Johnny, so I went fishing a couple weeks ago before I got sick. So if anybody's curious why I sound congested, I'm pretty sure I still have a sinus infection, but I had this sinus congestion stuff going on. And then I came home, and from the fishing trip, the kids got the stomach bug. So I had to take care of them. Then I got the stomach bug. and it was terrible. So 2 days ago was when it was the worst, and the throwing up and the crapping weren't that bad. It was like it hurt to lay down, like nothing, like the body pains were awful. It just hurt to like exist. Uh, I'd try to lay down and you like couldn't get comfortable. You were just that. It was miserable. Anyway, I'm over it, or I'm recovering. I didn't eat all day, and I felt terrible, and I didn't eat anything all day. And Amy comes home, and me and the kids have been, laying around with the stomach bug. She got it the day before, and I got it like a day later. And she comes home, and she's like, "I brought dinner home." I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I've got chili dogs, a hamburger, and fried chicken." It's like, holy shit, not for me. Uh, so anyway, hopefully we have all that past us. I think we do. I was the last one to get it, and I seem to be recuperating. But before I caught all this shit, I went fishing down in Apalachicola, and uh, weather was pretty nice. Even after they'd had a hurricane come through there, they didn't have too much damage, but they had a lot of fresh water. So typically you can fish like right there in the bay, right there in the rivers and stuff, and catch all the trout and redfish and stuff you want to catch. But because all the fresh water, we had to go out a little farther towards the Gulf. So we go out and we start fishing towards the Gulf, and we're fishing by this like barrier island. I'm like, what's up with this place? And the guy that we fish with, been fishing with him for 25 years. His name's Greg Kimbrough, Big in Charters, awesome dude. So we, like I said, been fishing with this dude for 20 years or more since I was in high school. And we're talking about this island, and he says a lot of deer out there. It's like on that island. He's like, yeah. He said we used to run guide trips out of there. I said for deer. He said no, bass fishing and shell crackers and brim. I was like on that island. And he's like, yeah, there's 5 lakes on it. I was like, this is the Gulf of Mexico, dude. And he's like, yeah, one of those lakes is right over there. I'm like, let me get this straight. This is a barrier island on the Gulf of Mexico, and there's largemouth bass on that island. He said, yes, big ones. I said, how do you get there? He said, by boat. There's a creek that leads to one of the lakes. It's a ditch, and we used to just go up the ditch, and all the lakes connect except for the one on the west end. And I said, is this serious? Are you serious right now? He said, yeah, we used to do it all the time in the 80s. He said, now I don't think you can run electric or run gas motors in there, but back then we just run our boats through the creek. And I was like, uh, how is it not just flood from like tidal surge like during a storm? He's like, I don't know, it just doesn't. And I said, that's wild. And so apparently, there's also like in the first lake you can catch like redfish because it's like a little more brackish. But the farther you get in there, like the other lakes um, are fresher, and the fish get bigger, and the alligators. That's the problem with it, is that it's uh, it's run by the state, um, and it's an island. It's 12,000 acres, called St. Vincent Island. Um, it's managed by the state, but I don't think they manage the alligator population. So, from what I understand, there's a very, very large population of very, very large alligators that nobody does anything about. So the farther you go in, apparently, the lakes are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think there might be a five, um, maybe just four. But once you get towards like 3 and 4, which are in like the middle of the island, they have they have that's where the biggest alligators live. And they said if you go in there like around that island, it's just nothing but 12 footers like laying everywhere. Um, BBC, I need to reach out to your buddies Terry Battisti. You might need to put us in contact. Him and what's his dick? Duke. The Duke. Because there's some lore behind this place that might interest them. But anyway, it's not the point of this story. The point of this story is we were talking about the deer on the island. And he said the bass fishing was what got me interested, but then I got really interested because he said so this guy bought this island back in like the 1900s, like early 1900s, and he turned it into like a wildlife refuge for exotics. So okay, and he said used to be zebra, peacocks, like all kinds of stuff running around this island. I said okay. He said he also brought from India sambar deer. I said, okay, what is that? And he's like, it's like this elk kind of looking thing. It looks like one of those black deer, but they get like 600-700 pounds. It's like 600-700 pounds. And he's like, yeah. And I said, and they live on that island. He said, yeah, they took all the other exotics off, except they left those. And I said, okay. And he said, there's a season to hunt them. I said, really? And he said, yeah, you got to apply for a tag, and it's $5. I said, $5 to apply for a tag. And he said, yeah. And I said, they run wild out there. And he said, yep. And he said, you have to go out there and camp. And everything, like now guys are bringing out like electric bikes and hunting off of those things. But before that, you just walk. And so I don't know how many tags they do a year. But you go by boat, you sleep on the island in a tent or whatever you want to sleep in. They have like game and fish people there to help you, but they'll only help you so much. So if you shoot a deer, one of these 600-700 pound sandbar deer in the woods, they won't help you drag it out. But if you get it to the road, they'll help you take it to your camp or your boat or whatever. So most guys, if they shoot a deer, they have to field dress it and then like chop it up into a bunch of pieces and drag it out piece by piece because it weighs so much. And it takes like it's like an Iron Man hunt. And I don't know why I've never heard about this. I've been going down there forever. Never knew this existed. Never knew these giant deer lived on this island. But they do. And people go hunt them for like 3 days a year or 4. But if I were a young man, which I am, but if I were maybe didn't have young children at the house, I would probably be signing up for this. It sounds awesome. But I don't know if y'all how adventurous any of y'all are as far as hunting goes, but to me that's like bucket list hunt that I would probably throw my name in the hat for every year just because. I mean, doing like, going and shooting a deer with a bow is cool, but like not like that. Like that's way different. Um, BBC, there's rules. There's rules. You can't just go pillaging around. The only thing you can do, the only thing you can do, uh, is I don't know. I think it has to be all electric BBC. You can't go out there with the damn militia muddying up the place with your side by side pulling up on your little mini aircraft carrier. There's rules. They don't want people like you showing up and damn digging up the place. Uh, I think it's all electric. Like you can do electric bikes or scooters. Um, I don't know if you could get away with a golf cart. You might could, but very interesting. The only thing you can do all year is you can uh, trail walk. 12 months out of the year, you can go out there and walk the trail. You can beach your boat, get out on the beach, walk the trails. Because whoever owned it years previous, they built a road system in there, and it's like oyster shell road. It's pretty cool. You've got like 200-year-old roads in there, but so you can walk the place, but you can't fish in there. Uh, can't fish. You can only fish between June and I think September. So the hottest part of the year when nobody wants to be out there is when they let you fish. I think it'd be way cooler if they let you fish between like January and March, but I guess they have duck hunters maybe. I don't know. Other stuff, deer hunting. Uh, BBC, I think you have to, I think it's a lottery. I think you have to get a tag. You have to apply for the lottery and get a tag for that. Um, so you can't just roll up and start slinging your muzzleloader around. Balsa butt stocks. That's where the money's at, BBC. Gun parts. Do people still hydro dip stuff? That used to be when I was first getting into painting. My buddy tried to get me out of this shit and was like, "You just need to do hydro dipping of like guns." Cool. Never did. Nah, crankbaits. Crankbaits are where it's at, bro. Which I knew crankbaits weren't where it's at. I just didn't care about hydro dipping stuff. But probably could have made some pretty decent money dipping people's stuff. The funny thing when that became real popular, people were hydro dipping everything Brian, no, it's probably next year. But I haven't heard much about hydro dipping lately. Like I said, when it first started, my buddy was getting stuff done. He's like, dude, this guy's dipping wheels and like hard hats and like just like people just bring this dude everything to hydro dip. Had no clue, bro. Had no clue. Got two of the old Castaway cranker and launcher rods last night and new in the pack. Are those good? Are those desirable? What's it called? Castaway crank launcher. That sounds familiar. There's another cranking rod that I think Kistler made that's really desirable. That's really old. It's like from the 90s. Not really old, but it's like a very early Kistler. I'll say late 90s. Whenever they came out, early 2000s. It's a fun place to fish down there, BBC. The less people that go down there, the better. It's already getting pretty overrun with tourism. There used to be some pretty big bass down there. I want to go bass fishing down there. That's the only thing I haven't done. In Apalachicola. Every time we go down there, we fish for trout and redfish. I don't like trout and redfish. I do. It's fun. But I don't care for it that much. I would prefer to bass fish, obviously. Oh, I'll show you a picture. So, probably aren't going to believe this. I still got it rigged up, I bet. Oh, I took the damn bait off. I'll show it to you. Let's see. Where's my phone? I'll show you all this fish. Show you all this fish. So it was the last day, last spot. Wind quit blowing. I had this bait tied on. I said, I'll throw this thing out there and see what happens. Catch this monster. 25 pound black drum. Caught on a spinner pole. 15-pound braid. 10-pound big game leader. Crazy Alberto knot. And I'll show you the hook that landed this fish. That little guy. And when I tell you that the hook was like, it was in the exact shape as when it came out of the package. Like it did not flex, it did not bend, it did not do anything. And I wasn't like, I got to the point where I just started grabbing the spool with my hand to stop the drag and just pulling. just because I thought something was going to break. Because I didn't like, I remember tying the leader and I got impatient because I know I wasn't going to put like a ton of stress on it. So I just did like 5 wraps, cinched it up, called it good. Checked it, felt strong. All right, it'll last. It was about probably a 10-foot leader, and or 8 foot, and so it was going like in and out of the guides. Um, and I thought that hook was going to flex, so I just like pulled, no drag, just pulled, and dude, everything held up. So if you want to, people have been drop shotting that hook forever. I think I heard about it probably it was when I was in Austin, so 6, 7, 8 years ago. I heard about it from my buddy Chad, and I think Matt and Jordan Lee told him about it, and they got it from Brent Earler, I think. They're like, this is the drop shot hook. It's like, okay. And he's like, they're cheap, order them. So I ordered that pack forever ago, and it's a 100 pack, and I think it was $30. But I never realized because I don't drop shot with that hook. I don't do anything with it really. I take them, I have them on my person, but I've never really put them to the limits bass fishing. But now I have the utmost confidence in that hook that nothing's going to happen because if you can catch a damn 25-pound black drum on it, I can catch a 2-pounder. It's pretty strong, AJ. I would agree. Pretty damn strong. Tyler, I haven't got a chance to get the haymakers yet. I was excited to get one for pitching a tube on, but they got to be such a pain in the ass to buy. I just it's a Gamakatsu B10S Stinger. It's a fly tying hook. Stock number 212409. Whatever size you want. I just had twos. It would take a 45-pound largemouth to pull like a 25-pound drum, pretty much. Pretty much. But I like doing that kind of stuff, like using my bass gear to try and catch, like, see what kind of saltwater fish. If you want to know my honest opinion that I came to the conclusion of down there, is that if I were smart, I would stop with all this dumb bass fishing shit and switch to saltwater inshore stuff. Here's why. Because the inshore market is pretty huge for like trout and red and stuff. It's big, but it's also about probably technologically 10 or 15 years behind bass fishing, at least. Way, way back. And I know the fish it doesn't matter as much, but fishermen are fishermen. They still get excited about new baits, new concept. People get like, even me, like everybody gets tired of throwing like the same old bullshit. Like I know, I do. You know what I mean? Like, can you still catch them on a Kakahu minnow? Yes. Do guys buy the shit out of matrix sheds? Yes. Are they the same thing? Pretty much. Uh, Does a trout care? No. I mean, who knows? Because nobody throws a Kako minnow anymore. But if you were to take some concepts from like bass fishing and kind of like do some creative stuff in the inshore world, I think you'd be off to the races. Like the marker 54 guy, he was over in Austin. He asked me to paint his shrimp samples that he was going to have produced. I saw him down at Town Lake one day. I saw his truck and it said like marker 54 on it or whatever. So we got to talking and he was like, "You paint?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Can you paint my shrimp?" I said, "I could, yeah." And I said, "Okay." So ended up never like getting the shrimp from him. He never sent them. But turns out the dude has blown up selling these shrimp, these fake shrimp. But if you look conceptually at the shrimp and what the dude made, that shrimp should have been designed 20 years ago. But they haven't because I guess people that I don't know what. I just don't think the people in I think the saltwater market guys are just like maintaining. They're, like they're not trying to create stuff. They're just trying to like maintain what they're doing. But like his shrimp design is not like groundbreaking as far as like the design, but it makes perfect sense. And like I said, it should have been done forever ago. Somebody should have looked at that after they fished a DO8 like 5 times and said, "This ain't it." But so, with that being said, look for 6th Sense to ramp up their inshore saltwater stuff. The brand is Marker 54, I think. Marker 51 or Marker 54. They sell it in he's in Academy now. But it's like a voodoo kind of thing. But different. I've got them. Hold on, I'll show you one. Marker 54. Backwards motion. Why not use a real shrimp? Shrimp sometimes can be hard to buy. Around here, at least, sometimes it's hard to get shrimp. If you like throwing a net, you could probably go catch you some pogies. I don't know, it's a lot of work. A lot of guys just like throwing artificial for stuff. I do. They catch bass, can confirm. I could see that. I don't know if he makes a smaller one, but I wish he made a little one like the little voodoo. That little voodoo catches way more fish than the big one to me. And it don't matter. Like that little voodoo to me will catch almost more and bigger fish for whatever reason. I feel like I've caught more and bigger fish on the small one than I have the big one. And I've caught a shit ton on the little one. I'd like, I'd like to, Kyle, I'd like to see I'd like to see a resurgence of live bait in the bass fishing world. Like guys throwing cast nets, catching their own bait. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like the old days. Which catches bigger fish, real shrimp or fake? I'm not the best person to answer that. Because I don't fish enough to know. But I guess it depends on where you're fishing and who you are. But certain times of the year, I'm assuming. But like I know in like in the early summer, like a big topwater is going to catch you a bigger trout than a shrimp ever will. Like the biggest. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's pretty hard to beat a live shrimp. Usually, if you're around shrimp eating bass, you're not around big bass. Too much salt. Tyler, that was always what the rumor was here, was that if you wanted to catch like the biggest trout out there, that you catch them on a croaker. What's up, Nasty Nate? Just talking saltwater fish. Hey, Dustin. Ahoy! Ahoy there, motorboaters. The Bean and the Bebe have a book about the Great Lakes. It's called Goodnight Lake. And there's a section of that book that says, Ahoy there, motorboaters. Hold on tight, water skiers. Wow, the Great Lakes are so big. There's even lighthouses to show ships where to go at night. Tato. Tyler, you can fish it faster and higher. DOA still gets bit, and it's a shitty design. Like I wouldn't say it's a shitty design. It's a timeless design, but it's very crude. It works though. It works. Josh, it does have a new swim bait rod out. My only complaint with your rod post Josh, was you didn't tell me why I needed it. I need to know that. Tyler, you mean just like kind of dancing around mindlessly, just kind of floating there? Like they're brain dead? Just going, boo. I think they go up. Nasty Nate, I think he's putting them up tomorrow. Made in the USA. Got that going for him. The salesman's out of the office. You got to get his ass back in the shop. Because if he don't get back soon, I'm just going to buy a fucking Leviathan. I'm going to buy 6 travel rods. Rod sales begin tomorrow. You got all your tubes? So the one thing I like that I think Josh did that we both agreed was helpful is I think he cut the butt length down a little bit. I don't want to speak out of place, but I don't think it's a damn surf caster. BBC, just ship it to Kyle. And if you're going to Arizona, pick it up. No West Coast handle. I like it. That was the part that interested me. Sorry, West Coast handlers. This ain't for y'all. This is for guys that actually like to make more than 17 casts a day. Arizona. I went there. I got engaged there. Beautiful place. You can go from the desert to like a 65-degree mountain in like an hour. Yes, BBC. Now you're thinking, won't get caught in your shirt. Yes, yes. The worst. One of my pet peeves. Brian, it's a long, drawn out story. Very long. But I don't think I have the energy to tell. It's Killer B2, Scott. And I will say that when I open these, my heart melted a little bit because when Burns carved these, he knows me so well. He did the noses extra pointy. And I opened them up and I started looking at the nose. I said, damn, these some pointy noses. Thank you, Burns. Thank you, Burns. You know the deal. Get them noses real pointy, B man. Yeah, Scott, I was looking at these and I was just thinking to myself. I was looking at all the pointy noses and I was thinking, I wonder how many of these I could skim off the top, because I think these noses are a little pointier than the ones I have. Burns did get a little extra on these noses, and it didn't go unnoticed. And I believe they're to be an advantage to the little pointier nose. I got engaged there. Like Amy held a gun to your head. Kind of. Kind of. It was so I had the engagement ring in my backpack, and we were going to go on a hike, and I was going to propose like on some like pretty trail somewhere in the woods. Uh, well, I guess I'll tell the story. Well, so we set off to go, and we're like getting ready to leave the hotel. And she's like, "Hey, is my chapstick in your backpack?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Let me look." I'm like, "No, don't do that. I'll look." And she's like, "No, I'll look." I'm like, "Stop." Like, "No, I'll look." So then we're we're like going to walk, and she's like, "Oh, do I have a bottle of water in your backpack? Let me look." I'm like, "Get out of my backpack, dude. Like, stop." She wouldn't like pick up the hint. And so then so now I feel like I've got this like time bomb in my back that I got to get rid of, because she keeps trying to dig around in it. And what city is this? It's I don't know, one of the ones where there's big trees and parks. Let me look on a map. I forget the name of it. So we get to this first park, and it's not so scenic. Um, but we get there, and we start walking around, and we get like, I don't know, 200 yards into the trail, and there's this older couple that's kind of Sedona. Yeah. That's where we were. We were all around Sedona because we flew into whatever's right out, whatever that big city is. I don't think it was Phoenix. Might have been Phoenix. I don't know. Whatever's around there. Sedona. Yeah. Uh, so that wasn't where I ended up proposing. Um, let's see. Because we drove around to like 12 state parks trying to find a trail. But I'll continue. So we get like 200 yards in, and there's this older couple that's kind of hanging out. Well, Amy's like, "Hey, what's up?" And yeah, we flew into Phoenix, and then we got engaged in Flagstaff. So we went through Sedona and up that way. So we started in Sedona and then ended up in Flagstaff. So uh, meet this older couple, and they're like, "Where are y'all from?" We're like, "We're from Alabama, live in Austin." They're like, "Oh, y'all ever been here?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, We come here every day and exercise and walk. We just love it here. You want us to take you around and show you the trail? Amy's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, fuck no. She's like, what? I'm like, of course, I'd love for you to show me around this park. So I'm trying to be nice and like not tell these people to eat a dick, and like you're screwing things up. So we keep walking, and we walk, and we walk, and we keep walking. I'm like, one of these old fuckers gonna give up. Like, this is like Iron Man triathlon. Like, they just won't quit. So we keep walking. Like, I'm talking like hour and a half in, they're still like going, talking, yapping. So how long is this trail? They're like, it's you know, you can go, you can make it as long as you want it. I'm like, how long are y'all gonna go? And they're like, we're about to turn around. I'm like, oh great, okay. Well, we're just gonna walk a little more farther past y'all. And they're like, okay. So once they leave and say they're gonna turn around, I'm like, all right, well, this is gonna be my window. Nobody here, and I'll get the job done once these dipshits leave. So they turn around and leave, get down the trail, and I start looking around, and it's like scrubby bushes and like red dirt and like tumbleweed. It looks like a scene out of like fucking Mad Max. Like, not somewhere you want to get engaged. So I'm like, I don't want to propose here. This is like terrible looking. So uh we keep walking. I was like, let's pick up the pace a little bit. So I see this big like overlook, and there's like this sign that's like just called, something overlook. I said, oh, let's go up there. So that's gonna be my shot where you can see everything is pretty. So we get up there, and there's like a sorority on top, drinking mimosas, making Instagram posts. And I'm like, how long is this shit gonna last? So I'm like, I think these girls are here for like the long haul. So I'll give them like 15 minutes and see if they start like packing up. Well, we sit around, and Amy's like, "You ready to go?" I'm like, "No, let's just sit up here and enjoy the beauty of this outlook." And she's like, "Okay." So we sit around and dick off up there for a little while. These girls are not going anywhere. They're getting smashed on mimosas on top of this mountain. So I'm like, "All right, next stop. Let's go on down the trail and see what we can find." So there's this other little. We go down the hill, and we're starting working our way kind of back towards where we parked. And there's this kind of little scenic area. It's like a little bottom, and it's kind of open. It's nice looking. And I'm like, all right, this is it. So I'm trying to like not be awkward and like get my backpack off. Well, about the time I slide it off my shoulder, a fucking Boy Scout troop comes marching up the trail, like singing songs. Blip, 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 blip. Like, no shit. And I'm like, dude, this is not happening right now. So throw the backpack back on. The Boy Scouts come up and they start, doing their thing. There's like 100 of them. So I said, all right, let's get out of here. So we leave. And we finally make it to the car. And Amy's like, you want to go do another trail? I'm like, yeah, sure do. So we go to the next trail. And it is like a New York subway down there. People everywhere, dude. It's just packed. So we walk that one in the crowds. And he's like, you want to go get some lunch? I said, nope. And she said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to walk more trails. And she's like, wow, you're really into this trail hiking. I said, yeah, I need a trail. Which other one? Where else can we go? She's like, if we've walked like 9 miles today. I was like, that's fine. I'm feeling good. I can walk 9 more. Give me another one. She's like, let's go to this one up in Flagstaff. I said, all right. So we drive like an hour or 45 minutes up to Flagstaff. And we get there, and there's this line to get into the parking lot. And this park ranger walks up, like, through the line of cars. And she was like, it gets dark in an hour. I said, okay. And she said, the parking lot's full, so you might not get in. But if you do, don't get trapped because we locked the gate. I said, okay. And it's like, how will we know if we get in or not? And she was like, oh, you could just sit here and then we'll turn you away. I was like, all right, great. So we sit there and we wait, and I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like, dude, every minute is like ticking down, like taken away. So we finally get in, find a parking spot, put the back on, get the hikers back on. Then we start down the trail. Well, we go by some like apple trees. There's like or I guess it was apples of some sort of fruit tree, and there was like all this fruit on the ground. And he's like, "Oh, let's pick apples." I was like, "No, let's head on up the trail." She's like, "All right." So we start walking up the trail, and there is a fair amount of people, but it seems like because it's getting darker, everybody that's in is trying to get out. So I'm like, let's go in. So in this, I mean, it's like heavily wooded right here with these big like sequoia trees or something. So or redwoods, I don't know what they are. So we finally keep going in there, and we walked far enough in there that we outran everybody pretty much, and I finally got to take my backpack off, and I forget how I diverted her. Oh, she wanted. I think I told her I was going to take a picture. I said, "Hey, let me take your picture." I get my camera out of my back, out of the bag, and so I go stand over there. And I went and got the ring out. But about that time, after I got the ticking time bomb out of my backpack, put it on her finger, these two chicks walk up and they're like, "Oh my God, did you just get engaged?" I'm like, yeah. And by this time, I'm like completely exhausted. I'm at my wits' end of trying to find a hidey hole to get engaged in the trails of Arizona. So she was like, "Let me take your picture." Sure. So we take pictures, and that was it. It was about an 8 or 9 hour engagement fiasco, and about I think it was like 13, 14 miles of hiking in order to get that done. It was a lot. Yeah, right when I went to pull the ring out, I was like, wait a minute, I left it in my bag. I should have. I should have. I could have probably accessed it quicker, but it was. I might have a picture. Let me see. I have a video. Where is that? Strut. I took a picture. That's the only picture I have. That's what the woods look like. See if Amy falls in. But that was the place we ended up getting engaged, was that forest. She didn't fall in. But yeah, it was quite the expedition. My engagement was I literally left the store, went home, and she was mad about something and just did it on the spot. Maybe this will make you glad. You want a ring, lady? You want to turn that frown upside down? Put this ring on your finger. I propose laying in bed watching TV. I didn't know we had so many hopeless romantics in the chat today. This is incredible. It worked. Well, the thing about our Arizona trip was I don't it like I didn't plan it. I didn't book it. Amy booked it for I don't know if she won it through something at work or something, but it was never planned to be an engagement trip. So she wasn't really expecting that part of it. I just kind of used it as an opportunity. AJ's old lady thought she was going to get engaged. AJ just went fishing. He never came back. She's like, "Where's the ring? Where's the engagement?" He's like, "Oh, I just went down there." Threw a drop shot. Or did she? When'd you know she was the one? Probably about the time she moved to Austin. We haven't been hanging out here, and she I'll tell you something that helped. Got my ass. Hadn't topped this one since. I was still tournament fishing, I guess. Yeah. I was still tournament fishing, and it was like, I'm guessing it was January, and our tournament season usually started in February. I get a big box in the mail, and it's a Stormer rain jacket with the gloves and the socks and like some other Stormer gear. And it said it had a note in there that was like, you might need this in your next fishing tournament. You're right, I might. She said what she really meant was, you better enjoy this jacket in your next fishing tournament because it's liable to be the last one you ever fish. After this season, your jacket will remain brand new because you won't ever use it fishing again. No, there was no worry of no. That wasn't ever a concern. That was not a concern. All that damn walking. That's a lot of walking. It was stress. The walking wasn't as bad as the stress of her like trying to dig through my bag and like inviting people to walk with us. Got my ass with the damn Stormer jacket. She actually ended up ruining that jacket. But good people at Stormer replaced it. I think they felt her fear and terror because I absolutely loved that jacket. You would sweat your ass off in it, and it did not breathe. But when it was cold, that jacket was like would keep you warm. Um, but she ended up putting it in the washing machine, and the arms fell off because I guess they're glued, and the glue came undone. And she called like customer service at Storm and was like, I screwed up. I washed my husband's jacket and the arms fell off. Like, if he comes home, because I think I was out of town, and she's like, if he comes home and his Stormer jacket doesn't have arms, he's gonna shit a solid gold brick. How can I fix this? Do y'all like replace these? Like, can you fix it? Or can y'all like do something about this? And or like help me out with another one, or tell me what this one is, or something. And they ended up sending her another one. It wasn't as good. It wasn't neoprene. It was like a shell, but pretty good. I haven't seen the Stormer much anymore. They made a pretty big push, and then I guess they made some money and then just gave up. I don't know. This is the Root and the Killer Bee, Burnsy. I'm behind. I got the stomach bug and a sinus infection. Go figure. And I've been on babysitting duty. Clay, what's new? How many 8-pounders you caught in the last couple weeks since we've talked last? Their newest rain suit is 600 plus. Is that for the top and the bottom, or is that what is that? What is that? What does 600 get you? I need to be drinking water. I feel a little dehydrated. I would like to have another Stormer jacket. I meant to order Manson's, but I felt like he was asking too much for a used Stormer jacket because I think he was trying to sell his for like 200 back when he was auctioning off all his shit, top and bottom. Is that pants or is that bibs? Clay, what big square bill do you throw? Strike King? Grenade? What do you say that is? $350 for the bibs, $250 for the jacket. What it comes out to. Lucky Craft, the SKT. You'll see where Pradco dropped, or whoever dropped Skeet. I guess it's Berkeley. Berkeley dropped Skeet after 20-something years. Bibs. Stormers were good. I don't like seeing. He had a couple more too, Clay. Josh, you got a Stormer jacket? Is it the neoprene one? The only thing that doesn't excite me about I should have known, Josh. You got all the damn sleeper stuff over there just hiding. Oh. Dude, I did the worst sanding job of my life on these baits. I have sanded these. This is the third time I've had to sand baits. Maybe it's because I was sick. Tops and bottoms, damn, bro. But the only thing I don't like about you don't like it, Josh? Too much? Too little? Doesn't work for you? Or you got something you like better? The one thing that doesn't have me wanting to call Stormer to get a jacket is that they were like hot and heavy, and now they just kind of like slid off, seems like. So it doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy that like they're going to be around. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I've got a pair of Cabela's Guidewear boots. I mean, bibs that are insulated. And those are probably the best bibs I've ever owned. 100-mile-an-hour suit didn't work good for me. Vintage Sims. I will say the first Sims jacket suit that came out that all the Mercury guys had, that was like the kind of the gray and red one. That was a badass looking suit. I think everybody got wet in them though. That's the one. I remember seeing I forget what tournament it was, but it was a couple years, I think, after that Sims suit dropped. And there was a tournament, and it was a weigh-in, and all those dudes wearing those Sim suits came in, and they were like soaked wet. Like you could tell their jackets and like everything under them was wet. And I don't want to say like a couple of them complained that they were like wet to their core. But I don't know. I'm different on rain gear. I think they all suck after about a year of heavy wear. Might as well just get a new one. Like if I were actively fishing, I would just put that into my expenses. Just buy a new rain suit every year. But I probably get colder a lot than most people, so I would wear mine probably excessively. I remember when Frog Togs came out, I got one of those. I think it was the biggest piece of shit I've ever owned in my life. I would have got less wet not wearing it. That is the honest to God truth. I would have gotten less wet wearing no rain suit. It was terrible. I don't know how they're still in business. The only I have issues with I love wearing bibs, but I have issues with bibs hurting my shoulders, pulling down on me. Um, but the AFCO one supposedly that looks like a damn makes you look like a I don't even know what those things look like. They make you look like a damn school bus. Uh, my skin was wrinkled and white. They are complete trash, but somehow they have managed to stay in business, and I don't know how. Keeping people wet since 1995. Never wash is key. Um, but crossing the straps. Um, but I don't know if I can get over the vanity of how stupid. Like I almost rather have the shoulder pain than have less and wear that stupid ass looking suit. Is that wrong? Gil. I got a buddy that not a buddy, an internet acquaintance. Y'all might know him. Walt Bastronauts. He hops on here. I think he works for Gil. He might work for Grundens. I can't remember. I thought it was Gil. But he was complimenting their suit. I mean, I guess he works for them, but I don't think he was just blowing smoke up my ass. But you never know when they're signing the guy's check. Um, Bass Cat came with premium rain jacket and bibs. I don't mind stripping to take a piss. I use I use the new 6th Sense catheter to run down the leg of my pants so I don't have to worry about it. Should look into it, Dustin. Use my code. Use my code PPTube10 to get 10% off your next purchase. Number 2, yes. And we got another deal going on right now. That if you order one of my signature catheters, you get a free pack of Ned worms. Truck is idling like poop. Not good. Get some bad gas. You got a plug go. You got a misfire. What's going on here? You got a throttle body issue? Grundens. Like I said, I've got a runs fine, just idles like crap. Might be a fuel thing. I did spring like 3 or 4 years ago. I found a good deal on a Kuiu jacket. Vacuum could have a little nick in a hose somewhere. I did buy a Kuiu jacket a couple years ago because I heard they were super good. My buddy, who's the animal bounty hunter down in Guam, he hunts for a living, and he's like, I've tried all this shit, all the bougie camo. He's like, my Kuiu jacket, I would not give anything for. He's like, it's good. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So he's like, try one, see if you like them. He's like, all right. So I found one that had been used supposedly one time on eBay, and some girl was selling it, and it was her boyfriend's or husband, and she wanted $150 for it. So I sprung for it, and it was like brand new. Like it didn't look like it ever been worn. But it's a nice jacket, and I'm like, I'm too scared to wear it now. Sportsman Warehouse. I forget about them. I used to get their catalog. They used to have a pretty good catalog back in the day. But man, this is taking me way too long. Oh, I guess it's because I told that engagement story is why this is taking forever. I need to have these painted. I need to have these painted today. I guess I'll get them painted today and clear coat everything tomorrow. I got one more box, Burns. When I get back, I'll do the other box. The foils. The foils remain. Oh. 47. Wow. What did he get 47 of? It seems excessive. I hate doing foil, Dustin. I hate foiling baits. I think they're effective, and I think they catch fish, but I don't like the task of foiling a bait. Actually, it's not. I don't mind foiling. I don't like having to clear coat them again. That's my problem. But I don't epoxy. If I epoxied, I probably wouldn't hate it as much. Medium diving epic shads. I don't know. I painted some of those last week. Now you see it. Closer. Closer. No. No. Dun dun dun. Ree, ree, ree. Could be tribal. Depends on what you see. Depends on what you see. $22 regular epic shads, 25 Eric Slims. Where's Eric? He needs to pull his head out of his ass. Last time I talked to him, he said he didn't even get chubbed up the last time he got some baits in. He felt no emotion. AJ, I just made my own. I just retrofitted these. How'd I do? And I didn't have to buy boxes. Factory. Factory. Burns, do these baits like this, do they have, is this 2 coats of epoxy or is this one? I know. AJ, I haven't thrown the B2 as much. I've got a few of them, but these I like. Like I said before, these are shitty baits. Not these. This one. The B1s are good. The build quality is suspect, but much like the old days. The B2s, I don't really gravitate towards because I don't like the profile. I don't know what they were thinking. Whoever owns Bagley is stupid. Everybody. I feel like everybody since I don't know, Mike Rogan, he made a pretty good bait. The original series, those were good. I don't know if I'm sure people hated them, but they were fish catchers. But they still couldn't make a what everybody wanted. Northland does. Northland does. And I think they're trying to get rid of all the Bagley stuff to like rebrand all the Bagley baits to Northland. Gator, which ones you got? Did you get the Sunny Bees? What I don't understand is, but I'm not some business mogul either, but I mean, why are you going to buy Bagley just to dismantle it and not keep any part of it? Did Bagley ever disappear? They've always been around in some form or fashion. Somebody has always owned them and made something. Rapala owned them once. Uh, Northland owned them. Um, they floated around hands quite a bit, uh, but nobody's ever done anything with it. One coat of epoxy, okay. Uh, I was just curious. That's what I thought, but yeah, I don't know what people are thinking. No, that's the problem, Clay. That's what's so dumb about it. Like everything, like when people talk about Bagleys, anything that people know about Bagleys is from like 1970 to like the early 80s Bagleys. Like when you read about somebody throwing a Bagley, it's that era Bagley. They're famous for that 10-year stretch of Bagleys. And not once have they duplicated anything remotely close to what they are the most famous for. Nothing. Nothing has even come close. Yeah, I don't know if it's a manufacturing thing or what, but I mean, you got to think about it. I don't think they're selling that. I mean, they might be. I don't know. Like, could they hire Cliff Pace to make their baits? Like, I would think he could maybe keep up with the volume if he had a painter. I don't know. Hellabass will be happy. Yeah, I consider a Pallas Balsa kind of like a hybrid, especially like a DT. Like the whole bottom section's like a harness thing, so it's like half balsa. But I don't know. Everybody's tried to make a different. They've just tried to be different with Bagley and like try and reinvent it. And I don't know that that's what people want. I feel like people want Bagleys like their grandfathers had and like their dads had and like they stole out of the dad's tackle box, like the good ones. Uh, and I don't feel like that's incredibly hard to do. Maybe it is. I haven't had to try to have a balsa wood fishing lure mass produced. Maybe it's harder than I think it is, but something tells me that there's somewhere in this world, I'm not going to say where, but it sounds like China could probably make you a balsa wood fishing lure. OG series is fragile. DT6s are fragile. We haven't done that, Burns. Burns makes a circuit board lip DT6. So if you like a circuit board, or if you like a DT6 but you don't like the bills breaking, Burns has solved that. He's done. I could probably dig out your lip modded DTs. He's done quite a few for me. I destroyed one that I did over here. I had a bridge piling with it at like 100 miles an hour. Gone, but not forgotten. $12.39. I guess I can start painting it. What the heck is going on? No, nothing. Okay, we're good. I thought I was short of bait. I guess you're right. I guess that's why they started doing the compression building with the balsa. Because that took the carving out of it, and they could compress them faster than they could carve them, and probably more efficiently. But I don't think it's the answer. But they tried it, I guess. I mean, why is it so hard that in 2024 we can't replicate something that they did in 1972? It doesn't make any sense. Do I have that spray in here? No. Huh. All right, bros. Gators, Painter Dude. Painter Dude. Made me sound like Robin from Batman. I think it's because the fishermen don't care enough. 90% of them will buy the plastic and be happy with it. For sure, John. For sure. There's probably a lot of guys, like recent customers of Bagley, that buy them and don't necessarily even know that they're balsa or care. Or care. Burns said he's going to put an extra hook hanger on the walking plugs. He had a change of heart. He had a change of heart. Hella, your little food tour was looking pretty impressive in Chicago. Very impressive. All right. Ow. An archaeologist finding a balsa crankbait. You think they'd last? Maybe those returning customers selling one base and get us selling 10. I'd love to see Burns' version of Aristo Rap, not just a mod. I've never seen one. You know, I would like to have a big one. Now that you say that, Scott. That was always my favorite alternative, which I'm sure you have a few of these. But best fire tiger in the game. Mimic owns it. Mimic rules the fire tiger world. All fire tigers should strive to be that. I have more fire tiger mimics than I have fire tiger anything else. It's pretty wild. Somehow they found me. Morgan, I've been on for 2 hours, bro. You missed some good storytelling. Gotta keep these a little more organized. I would agree. I don't ever have that. I don't ever wake up and want to go throw fire tiger. Yeah, I don't know any time I've ever woken up and been like, man, I just want to go out and just crank a fire tiger crankbait today. Except this one time I caught a 6-pounder on a fire tiger middle end in the middle of the summer. And I went on a little bender. Actually, I take that back. I went on a couple summer bender on a original fire tiger Balsa B2. Woo's fire tiger. Which it was very sexy and ahead of its time. Because it was matte finish. I smashed him on that. Good job, Woo. Marty, you need to get out there and start mining lithium or whatever they say is up there in Arkansas. No, Deez just sent me a text and he says, I've been wanting to crank some fire tiger. You full of it. No. That's what everybody says. I want to throw a worm. I want to crank fire tiger. They never do. They just throw their beetle spins and their drop shots. The popper fire tiger is an interesting choice. I don't think a lot of people reach for that. I know we had D's lurking. We did a batch of which ones? Shad wraps? What about like a number 7 shad wrap? Oh, fire tiger? I don't recall that, D's. D said he spanked my ass somewhere on a fire tiger B2. I don't remember it being fire tiger. And I don't think it counts for ass kickings when you're cranking logs and you're in the front of the boat. Doesn't qualify. The Pupar deck convinced me it was a rare color and it was the teal. So you think it was placebo that you fished it as hard as you did and made it work? Or do you think there's actually, you could give it to a commoner? What did that kid say on that video this morning, Dees? She thinks she's the queen and we just sorry. It would be easier to use the mod lips if I built the body. What is that? I don't. We can talk about that later. We got a customer got a bunch of mineral rights to lithium in South Arkansas. If that pans out, dude is probably set. Correct. You'll be need to stay in contact with that guy. He'll probably hook you up with some hunting rights on his reserves. I think it was a good fit for the watercolor and forage, but looking back, I would go clear. You know, Clay, I had a hard time with when I was in Texas. I had a lot of trouble. I missed a lot of fish on a clear topwater, and I thought it would be perfect. But every time I threw it, I missed a lot of fish, and that typically doesn't happen. But I felt like I missed more fish on clear. I guess we are starting to get into the winter and fall. So the winter and early spring. So we need to be thinking about those kind of little types of plugs, Bernsey. Tired in 8 months. It's getting quick. Where's my winter box? What's in here? See what's in here. These are all Painter Dude modded Ristos. So I just took the regular shad patterns and made them into 6s. Make your own DIY simple crawls. I need to be stockpiling those and selling them if I were smart. this one? It's a long lipper. Oh, there's my bandit thing. I mean, my Mr. Twister. You know, I said this was the ugliest bait I've ever painted, but it turns out I was wrong. Turns out I actually like it. Turns out I think it will catch lots of fish. I'm glad I kept it. Turns out it's kind of sexy. We got old dirty ass Shad Raps that'll never get thrown. Last time I fished Lake Travis, I hooked a 7-pounder on this guy. Nothing too special, but the fish came unglued. Ooh, there's my Bernsey. I caught him on this one. Dees, you were there for that one. That's a pretty bait. That's a pretty bait builder, dude. That is a succulent bait. The problem is, I lost. I didn't lose. I used up all this glitter. Gone forever. I don't know where it came from either. Oh, I had a bait design. I had a bait design builder, dude. I don't know if you're going to like it or not. I need to draw it out. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's not really weird. I don't know. You might not like it. I need to draw it out before I forget about it. I need to go back and see if I took a picture of it. I hope I did. I was looking at this bait, and there was a part of the bait that I wanted to exaggerate. You should set up a mail order crankbait rail service. You guys can try out everything. The monthly subscription, do it down deposit in case they get lost. I mean, for like hard to find baits, like if somebody's curious what a lip modded BDS4 would fish like, and I can say, oh, you want to know? Here you go. Here's a lip modified BDS4. Throw it, see what you like. If you like it, modify your own lips. Or you want to know what a weight transfer Jimmy Etter crankbait throws like? Try one of these. You want to know what a ROC Pluto runs like? Try this. Caught more fish over 5 pounds on a Risto route. Which number, Scott? Tell me the number. And don't say 9 or 7. It's either 5 or 4. Over 200 burns. That's absurd, dude. Started with the 7 and then started throwing the 8. Wow. Wow. Burns 200 is an insane amount of wristo wraps to even have in stock. That's mind blowing that you had that many wristo wraps. Yeah, the 4s have always been a little more difficult to find. The fact that you had, or you had 205s. The 4s have always been kind of hard to find. 5s are a little easier. Caught a 714. Do you throw them in the summertime, Scott, or all year? I got rid of all my big ones. You might have bought my big ones when I sold them on eBay back in the day. I was selling 8s and 7s. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny? You always wonder who some of your old eBay customers might have been. In the summer. Not a winter deal. Only have 3 to 4 of the 4s left. Burns. Sounds like we need to build a number 4 wristo wrap. Since you can't get those anymore. I don't need to say that too loud. Dee's buddy Cliff will have 6,000 of them on the website tomorrow. Damn, what a shot. Watch what I say over here. Oh. All right, I'm off. I'm out of here. I gotta go paint. It's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna get fired. Good talking to everybody. Where's JP? I hadn't heard much of him. He needs to get on here and chit chat one night. I guess it's me, not him. But all right, good talking to everybody. I'll see y'all. I want this fucker in.